I'm only going to put a couple layers on this. I just want it to, it ain't going to be in the weather that much, so it don't have to be perfectly sealed like some of the other stuff. I just want just a better seal is all. I'll tell you what, some of it really absorbs, so. Oh. I've always kind of been a homesteader, prepper, whatever you want to call me. It's something I grew up knowing how to do, how to hunt, fish, take care of my own animals, how to process them, how to cut them into steak or grind them into burger. And I think the meat is way better when you do it yourself, because you know exactly what's going into when you're making sausage. You know exactly how it was procured, if it was a humane way of dispatching the animal. I don't like to see anything suffer. And you know, that to me going out and hunting and all that, and taking, you know, butchering my own animals, I make sure of it the best of my ability. And it just aggravates me that most people, well, I wouldn't say most people, but there's a lot of people don't even know where meat really comes from. They just think it comes from the grocery store. They don't know what's involved in it. College kids that can't even use a can opener. That just really sounds insane to me, but there's people out there. And the problem is, in my opinion, is the schools. We don't teach basic knowledge anymore. And we sure don't teach any free will or thought, you know, processing thoughts, how to work things out yourself. And it's just, it's crazy. I don't want to see my grandkids grow up in this. I really don't. I don't care who you vote for, what you believe in. I just don't want nobody trying to take away my God-given rights and shove a belief down my throat that I don't believe in. Everybody has their own opinion and their own beliefs, and I'm fine with that. But don't try to shove your beliefs down other people's throats. You can talk civil, and you can either agree to disagree, or maybe one of you will give a little ground. Come what may, November, we're either going to move forward, or we'll probably end up losing a bunch of, or they'll try to take away a bunch of our rights like they already had. I remember as a kid, it was a local business. It was Rawlins, a little town of 400, 500 people. had little towns all around it. Had a big town, probably a population of 10,000, which is huge now. It's compared to what it used to be. And Rawlings was actually, you know, they made each was in several small communities, and each one made their own products. So the one that was in my local community made the gloves and the baseball gloves. I think they made the shoes. Yeah, they made the shoes. They made a few other little oddball things. And about 40 miles away in another small town, I think they made jerseys and stuff. They did other things, but each one of them had their own, you know, and it was because of that business that these little towns was prospering, because of Rawlings. And then one by one, for no reason at all, they started shutting down these little factories and moving it away, consolidating it, I guess. And it devastated all the small towns around here. It was just, I just don't think big city people and corporate businesses, you know, we had a lot of people move with the jobs, but still, we had a lot of lost income into the community that kept the Five and Dime open, the store, the grocery store open. It also kept the hardware store up and running. And as one after the other closed, we lost everything. And most of these businesses was mom and pop businesses. They just, people you know, went to church with sometimes. People that showed up at school events. They just, all of that just slowly died out. And I don't think, you know, I don't think progress is a bad thing. I don't. But I don't think more now than ever, as you look at this pandemic that's going on, more now than ever, I don't think consolidating everything in one big factory is the answer anymore. I think we got to go back to the small towns and just go with that. Go unconsolidate everything. Get everything out of the big cities. Get more people working from home if you can. There is no reason to have so many people piled into these major cities that is nothing but death and destruction anymore. The smaller population, where everybody knows everybody, and I mean that literally. You know, you take a population of 700-800 people, you pretty much know everybody in that community. Everybody keeps an eye out for one another. You know, we're talking back in the 50s when kids would go out and play, and when the street lights come on, you went home. When you did something wrong at somebody's house, your parents got a call. And a lot of neighbors, you know, if I went to the families, some of my extended family's house, stayed the night, and I'd done something, I got my butt whipped there, and then when I got home, I got another butt whipping. And you can say whatever you want about spanking a kid. And my boys are grown men, and I didn't really care for spanking them. But when they did something super wrong and they repeatedly done it, then I did spank them. And you ask them to this day, and they're grown men. They said they never got their ass whipped for something they didn't do, they didn't deserve. And they'll tell you straight up, if they got a butt whipping, they had it coming because they know the rules. I didn't pamper my kids. I didn't think they needed a trophy unless they earned one. And I think that's one of our big mistakes. I praised them for doing a good job, doing the best they could. That's all you can ever ask of anybody, is to do the best you can. When I was in the military, I heard other team leaders, squad leaders, platoon sergeants tell them to go out and max the test, max the PT test, max the rifle range. And I didn't think that was fair to their troops, because they wasn't maxing the PT test. They wasn't maxing the rifle range. I told my guys when we went to the range, I said, all right, here's the deal. This is what I scored last year. I'm pretty sure I'll get pretty close to the same. I would appreciate if you'd do as good as me or better. I'd really like to see you do better than me. Now I wasn't. I varied on my rifle quals for years. Sometimes I'd do really good, sometimes I wouldn't. I always shot up in the expert range for the most part. I mean, there was a couple years that I drifted down below that. But in a PT test, I always scored really good on a PT test. Even when I had back problems, it was hard for me to run. I would go out and run anyway, doing setups. I was always good at push-ups, always good at running, but sometimes I'd pay for it for days. I wasn't an exercise guru. I was naturally like that from the work I did. And that's why I kind of went back to doing things by hand again. That's why I started building again, to get me out moving and doing things instead of buying it. The quality is so much better in my opinion.